last month we had like kind of a recap and projecting the future of the community, what we should be doing together or separately, or any recommendations, advice. So Laura had given some advice in the past, saying that each month we find a theme, a common theme to talk about, so that we can go deep in a certain subject and maybe can brainstorm some ideas and work on potentially something together. I would also like to continue the conversation and see if, especially Maria wasn't here last month, what kind of things we would do to help each other grow. And my idea from also last time was to potentially invite another artist friend that you know or was looking for a community to join or happen to visit you, for example, so we kind of expand the community slowly without having to just ping and pong back to each other with the same old story each time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like bring a friend and then or invite someone who online who want to join, so you don't need to like ask for permission if it's directly from you. This person is an artist or someone who works in art.
Okay.
Yeah, what was the name? It was the Heroes 360 spinning cards.
The thing is that, like Laura's suggestion last time was to have more like a introduction of each other better, like talking better, understanding each other's strengths and potential entry of collaboration, because
it's to know each other.
But also like what you're working on, what you're looking forward to work on, some kind of things. And it reminds me of the movie Jumanji, like you jump into a computer game and you do this, and then the hero cards comes, it's like pop out,
okay,
and then you go, this person is good at this, bad at this, what health points and how many lives he has, and this kind of fact sheets of a character that you design, except for you design that is yourself.
Trump did the same for the Pokemon cards. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if it's an Ox. They like chasing immigration like Pokemons.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Department of Immigration, they use, but I don't know if it's an Ox, but they're like, Pokemon, you need to catch them all.
Pokemon Go.
And then they show the police running after immigrants in the US.
I think it's a meme.
I'm not sure. Trump is really.
How can you gamify law enforcement? Come on.
I don't know. But yeah, it's cards. Then they are becoming cards. You put them in the Pokeball, and you send them back in their country.
Oh God.
It's horrible.
Oh no! Oh yuck!
Yeah, I was thinking to kind of have a small fact sheets or character card design for each person, except for I don't know, before that Greg was doing the introduction that he summarizes. But maybe each person have like a space, I don't know, that you can put whatever you want. If it's like a bio on your Instagram, except for it's within the community. So you can like say, I'm looking forward meeting this person. It's a bit like Tinder.
A little artist hookup site for collaborations.
Yeah.
So are you guys thinking about like doing like a Pokemon card style? Like you're gonna have a template and then we fill the information?
We have no idea, but because Laura last time said she doesn't know every person like good enough to propose a project.
I think Tai, you did agree with that. I think it's more Tai, you said that. Not everybody knows everybody. Like we are the only ones.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
Well, I think I said like I know everybody, but I don't really know everybody.
Yeah.
Like I know Laura, but I probably know her art and her name, and that's about it.
Yeah. I don't know which way is good, or maybe like 60-second recap of what you've been doing, or like we do a round table. I don't know, like what is the, because I remembered in the corporate world, we were doing this kind of 1 minute, one person thing. And when it comes to certain people who didn't do much work, and
Then if you don't know, you ask.
okay, that's why I
Can we
want
do
proposals.
can we do like a pitch, like someone are talking for 1 minute and we are asking questions to go deeper, like each
Yeah.
person asking 2-3 questions, and we're like building.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that idea.
yeah, that is pitching for projects, more specific projects, I would say. Like if someone has a proposal, I have a pitch, then you have an elevator pitch of 1 minute. You talk about your idea, and then people can be interested and then ask questions, like open ground for pitching.
Have you guys heard of the Pecha Kucha format? So there's a format called Pecha Kucha. And it's I forgot how many slides. I think it's 20. So each of us do 20 PowerPoint slides, and each slides only get 40 seconds. So you put one image on one page, and you only have 40 seconds to talk about it, and you only have 20 slides. So that's totals up to about, I think, 5-6 minutes. I forgot how long it is, and I'm not good at math. So that is a very fast way for I don't know if it's too much commitment for everyone here. Like I'll be happy to do like the first round if anyone is up for it next time. I don't have anything ready yet, but it's basically just like, okay, here's first image. Like for example, maybe it's a picture of my bird. It's like, oh hey, here's my bird. He's my muse, and the reason why I started my art is because of this bird. And then next slide is it just goes automatically instead of you flipping it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's called Pecha Kucha. I don't know if it's like, this is just an idea. I'm not saying everyone has to do it, but that's a very quick way of
I am
like-
in for the next
Yay.
meeting.
for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 slides, right?
Let me look up like I'll send you guys Pecha.
But if it's a 20 slide, almost 1 minute per slide.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
15,
Be like
20 minutes.
16 minutes per person.
Yeah.
it's like 5 minutes per person. It's very short.
It's
There's more
I feel it's
options.
very perfectionist way of thinking. It's like very deep.
It's Pecha Kucha.
Pecha Kucha.
Pecha Kucha. I'm typing it right now.
Yeah.
Pet
That is for like self-introduction. No?
Pecha Kucha. And I can look up like if you type in Pecha Kucha, it should have like they should have like pretty good YouTube videos on it. Okay, so it's 20 slides, 20-second each slides. So the total presentation time will be 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So you set your slide so it goes after 20 seconds, and you can't go back. You can't go forward. You just have to talk about the slide for 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
And it would be yeah.
No, I like the idea because we probably all have, since we're all different humans, different needs for this group. So you could kind of present could reflect what you most to talk about. So your slides wouldn't necessarily have to be like autobiographical, though that could be included, or you probably want to include your artwork, but the slides could also say, here are 3 that I'm struggling with for this reason. So it kind of puts some, kind of like Maria was saying, where you're like putting some requests out there to the group. You could kind of use Pecha Kucha or whatever it's called, to tackle anything. It could also be like a proposal pitch, and here's what I have in mind. So it could kind of be anything.
Yep.
Mm.
And then we can, I think, like what Maria was saying, Maria saying, like afterwards we can do a Q&A and like, hey Maria, I'm interested to know more about the slide number 5. Like, can you elaborate on that? Can we ask some questions? Like, I'm just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think like, I don't know whether we want to do it all at one meeting or we want to like spread it out because it's a lot to take in.
And question, you think it would be better at the start, like before a meeting, at the start of a meeting for one person, or organizing a supplementary meeting like first week of the month and just focus on that, or just one, like we're talking about another subject at the start, like warming up, we are making a 20 minutes dedicated
Like
that.
you're asking about sequence, oh, like frequencies and sequence, right? Like how many should we do per, like what is the focus, and should we
And
do it?
if we
Yeah.
do another talk for that, if we organize something different for that, dedicated, like another day dedicated to that.
You want to make 2 meetings per month?
No, I
No,
propose, I
like
don't.
one extraordinary gathering where
Yeah, this is the
everybody,
idea. I mean, it's my
everybody-
question is not what I want.
Ah,
I think we could do an extra meeting where everybody has a turn and you like set a timer and we have 10 minutes of discussion after the person's 6-minute presentation and everybody goes like in just one big meeting. Or we could do 1 or 2 people at the beginning of every regularly scheduled end of the month meeting. Probably 2 people per time, because it would only take us 3 meetings to get through everybody.
I
true,
agree.
but also people are coming in, maybe like new
Oh.
people. And I'm thinking maybe like if you bring a new friend or someone who is joining for the first time, maybe we can make it like a requirement for them to present, for example. You know, at least, for example, at
I'm not
least
fan
3.
of requirements. I think
Oh,
they're
okay.
free.
Oh yeah, they're free, but let's say they need to show, for example, at least one artwork or
You go on their website or Instagram.
okay.
So,
Yeah, but Greg, when you say that, I think that is leaving out the kind of the central concept here is the interaction between us when we're talking about our work, or the opportunity that creates to understand something better or put a question out there or receive constructive criticism. So it's multiple purpose, like it helps us get to know each other better, but it's in a way that is instructive for each individual artist. So I still think like if a person attended, it's nice to have a format. It doesn't have to be a hard rule, but like a way for them in a 6-minute. I think it would make it for a more productive conversation than somebody just showing up and then just sitting there staring at the screen, kind of not knowing what to say or what the purpose is. It's like forcing, you're right, we can get on each other's websites, but it's like forcing a deeper, more enriching engagement.
I'm thinking maybe this format can be a bit also I know that it sounds a bit heavy, but it can be educative. For example, when I was asked to give a presentation of my paper, there is the introduction, methodology, you know, the development, the conclusion, the reference, which is like at first I was like, this is so boring. I can do it more creatively. But then I've seen people do it really creatively, but still following, tick all the boxes, you know, telling what is expected to be told. So I'm thinking maybe if we do this in a format, it can be a bit educative in a way that whatever you will tell about your work or your project, it's a fruitful and also it's an industrial accepted way to say. I don't know if I can explain myself.
I don't.
Like you,
I like that.
Like you, yeah.
I don't get either.
I think that sounds
Like
really
how
smart. Go
it's
ahead.
like industry approved way of the saying.
Okay, so
like,
in every industry is different. In academia, you need to write about, or you need to speak about methodology, how you go about the research. In commercially, if you do a pitching for like a Google startup, you need to talk about scalability. This is like the counting that you need to show how fruitful your project will be. So
Hi, Christine.
so basically, each industry is different when it comes to how you present and do an introduction of your project or yourself, basically. Yeah.
I think Mo, you are kind of asking what is the standard for this kind of presentation? Is that what you're asking? Like where is the judging criteria you're asking?
No, there's no judging.
And can you sum up for Christine?
Okay. Hi, Christine. So we were just saying that continuing last month's conversation about how the community should develop, what we can do to help artists in our community, for example, to make it more open by bringing the opportunity to bring a friend without asking, to make a self-introduction or open pitching ground for people to get to know each other better, or bring a project into the crowd, into the pool of potential project to develop together for collaboration. So then I was suggesting maybe to put a certain format, because Tai was saying there is a Pecha Kucha format that is 20 slides each,
20 seconds each, yeah,
and therefore 6 minutes and half for each person. So basically it's kind of a formatted way to introduce something. Then people can go deep into a certain subject. And because of that, I was saying maybe we take a more standardized format of either elevator pitch or stage pitching of startups, like Google startup pitching, or like academic presentation standard, so that we can also help artists formulate. It's kind of an educative way to help artists formulate and train the way to present their projects. So it's kind of a practicing round for them if they pitch to an investor next time, or maybe something like that. And it was just an idea we were developing before you came.
I love the way that you're thinking, that all of you are thinking about this. Can I ask a question? Is that okay? So I guess the question that I have, and I don't know if maybe it makes sense to like write this in the chat or not, or say it aloud, is to think about like what everyone hopes to get out of these meetings together and why we're all coming together on this monthly basis. Because I think that will help help us to think about how they can be structured. And so if it is a question of like, this is a great forum for helping us to refine how we pitch ourselves, or how you all pitch yourselves, and with the help of some kind of professionals who can help you to refine your elevator pitches, then absolutely. The Pecha Kucha and doing the elevator pitches is great. If that's like one of multiple things, maybe we brainstorm a list in the chat of like, here are all the things that we want to work on, and we put those in a big chat, and then we come up with like, okay, next time we'll do this, and the time after it'll be that. But what do you guys think about taking that under consideration? Like, what is bringing you here? What are you hoping to get out of it? Is that something that we've talked about and that I've missed, or is that something that we haven't like necessarily addressed?
I think last month we were going towards that direction. It's just about how to make it happen. And we all know that everybody wants different things, and occasionally, periodically, we want different things, and coming back to the original desires. So we were getting into it last month, basically.
Yeah. I think Christine, you had a good point. I want to rewind a little bit. So how this conversation started was that Mo or Greg, one of you suggested like, oh, what is an opportunity here? How could we collaborate more, right? So in order to, and I or Laura said, oh, in order to collaborate more, I need to know about the people here more. Right now, I felt like I know their face and their work, and that's about it, right? I don't even claim that I know anyone's work, actually. I just know the name. So that's why we suggested that perhaps this Pecha Kucha thing could help with understanding where this person has started, where his or her work has carried him or her to us, and then what is the demand here of this person. So that is the reason why we were saying, oh shoot. That is the reason why I suggested the format of doing it this way, and so we can understand like, oh, as you said, what do you want here? What do you want to achieve here? Like, why are you coming every single month? And like, I personally have certain thoughts, and perhaps I can put it into my presentation and say, XYZ, this is what I want.
So I go and I talk in like anecdotes and stories, so hopefully you can forgive me. But I go and I teach occasionally, and I just ran the figure drawing workshop for a place 2 towns over from me, right? And just last month I had been going there for a while, and the guy, his name's Steve. I realized I never asked him, like, okay, like, why did you buy this old 3-story building to do this? It seems like that's like a really big move for an individual like yourself. And he said to me, he's like, well, I used to have a studio at this other place, which is very well known around here, and they have a lot of great studios. And then he had to move out of that, and then COVID hit, and all these things happened. And he said, well, I just realized that I liked the community aspect of being able to be around people and share and hear what other people are doing. And so I think, especially in art school, I was fed this notion that it's like, A, nobody really cares what you're doing, and B, you're this bohemian, lonely, perpetually lonely entity that nobody understands, just sitting around in your studio making this work, and then you have to go make people appreciate and understand. And the very last bit I get to a certain extent. It's like, yeah, we actually have to go out and present what we do. But I think this notion that people just that this is the way that art has always been, and that people just don't need that community or need to be feeding off of each other, I think is something that was nice seeing about us getting on here. But how it could be pushed forward for me is actually saying, okay, like, what are things we're all struggling with? What are things that, we all find interesting to talk about? How can we plan ahead of time and actually come here and share these things? And then, hopefully that breeds being able to work together in the future or do things together, because I firmly believe that we should not stay just faces on a screen forever, right? And hopefully things will not get too crazy here, as it seems like everything's getting really bad, but hopefully we'll be able to travel enough and be around people. And we could address this later. Just last point is, Greg and I talked about my upcoming residency, and me probably not being able to have enough work made in the time there to actually have a full show. He said, so think about, is a group show something you'd want to do? Can you get other people? And so, I kind of have a generalized theme for that. I've talked to a few of my other friends about the potential for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I was thinking wrong about what you were saying, but I thought that would be a good way to get more community in there, and also just kind of fill up the space with a like-minded theme. I don't know if that makes sense.
You're talking about the social aspect. Social aspect is important. And also, I think there are some people, after getting the social vibe and becoming friends, virtual friends or actual friends, I think maybe later people want more. Like, they want something that is more tangible, that is more substantial, that comes out with more, like, let's say, I wouldn't say capitalistically, but like more materialized results. They want to get actually something out of it. Maybe I'm just saying maybe. That's why I'm thinking, since I cannot guarantee how they will collaborate and what success the artist will have, like each individual, because it's also up to many things, not what we can control ourselves. Then I was like, okay, why not making, let's say, if you want to do a pitching, then there's a certain format and guideline. So the actual doing it itself is a learning process. So at least even after the pitching, nobody want to join the project, still they learned something. That was my thinking. But of course, that is killing the social aspect a bit, because work and fun, usually they are not mutually inclusive.
No, I agree, Mo, with what you're saying, and Tay with the idea of probably the Pecha Kucha and maybe doing like a 30-second or 1 minute maybe reintroduction of each of us, just for the benefit of our own familiarity with each other's work as a exercise in how we present ourselves. That's probably like, it's a little bit of like medicine in a way, but it's probably useful. It's not the same as everything else that we're talking about, but it is a good foundational familiarity that's going to facilitate the rest of what we're talking about, which is the ability to naturally find opportunities to work together or collaborate. And I'm seeing a lot of similarities with a group that we've been trying to kind of bring together in Boston in person with a lot of art administrators. And Greg, this is where the article that I sent you about artist success being correlated with one's network, not with one's, let's say, talent as an artist came from. And which is a point to bring up to all of you, which is that strength of network really is important. And finding, you know, what I took some notes down here, that community aspect, and really having like this opportunity radar is, I think, what's key here. Because what will happen is if we're familiar with each other's work, is not only will we be able to, in this group, talk to each other about maybe collaborating, but when you're looking at opportunities in your own community, you'll then think back to the people in this group and you'll say, oh, I know someone who does something like this, and this is a national program, or this is international. And then you'll be able to either send it to the group or send it to that person directly. Because that's something that I end up doing all the time. I'll think of someone who does that sort of thing. And that's really, I think, where the power of these, you know, taking the time to do these introductions will be, I think, particularly important. And then being able to kind of like help each other eventually solve problems as well. Major, I love the idea that you're going to be doing potentially bringing some other people in for the exhibition that you'll be doing during your residency. And if there's any way that I can offer some advice, please let me know. Can I offer one potential opportunity for people to consider? I love
Yes. Yes, please.
So I am currently training to be a death doula. This is not me changing my career or anything like that. It is in conjunction with, I felt compelled to do this training. It's through the University of Vermont. It's similar to when you're a doula to help women give birth. This is something that this is companioning people who are transitioning and dying. And a lot of this is an intersection with conversations that I have all the time with people who are dying, but also a lot of the work that I've shown that has to do with people processing grief and death. I am going to hopefully curate a show that is associated with grief.
Dying.
Yeah, well, so yes, with dying, but kind of like art and grief and how people are how people process grief through art. So I would invite each of you, if you'd like me to consider, if you have work or know an artist who works in this genre, each of you is more than welcome to send me a piece of artwork or to recommend an artist to me. I'm still researching. I'm trying to find out like who actually works in this field. This is not a field that I know that much about. I'm doing a lot of research in it. So if you know artists who work in this area, send them to me. If you have a piece you'd like me to consider for this exhibition, this will be an in-person exhibition. So don't like tell me about the, 25-ton concrete urn that you've made in Timbuktu. But if you have something that you'd like me to consider, send it to me. I'm gonna put my email in here again for everyone's convenience.
Is there any formal invitation or any like
this is
like
private. I'm not putting out a call for this.
Okay.
As of right now, this is like by word of mouth only.
Like, I guess like what I'm asking is that, is there like where is this going to be? What is the duration? Like, what is the time? Like location?
Okay. You want more details? This is like my personal project that I want to put up at a funeral home. And I have no idea if I can find a funeral home that will let me do this.
This is cutting edge.
And
I
it,
love it.
yeah. So no, this is like kind of like experimental curation. The idea is not to have it up there like, wow, there's like some random dead body there and people are like trying to grieve. They may want to keep it up for that length of time. Maybe it'll be like 3 days. Maybe it'll be longer. I would say don't, pick something that you think would be tasteful enough that a funeral home would consider putting it on the walls, or it can be a 3D piece as well.
It can be a video.
Video art, new media art.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, for me, I'm willing to consider everything, right? And so I'm just I'm not saying I'm going to accept everything that comes in. I'm also not saying that the funeral home is going, like the funeral home may say, yes, and we're going to do it with 4 pieces, especially in this first iteration. But I really have this like vision here, and I am sharing it with you guys because you guys are a special group to me. I'm not just going around and telling everybody about this. So if you have something, and I would like for you guys as artists, to have this be like, if this is something that has helped you to process grief, that's really what I'm looking for. I'm not just looking for like, for you to kind of just like create something that represents grief. Really looking for the most powerful pieces, and really what's inspired this is the work that Karen Tabb did, where when her mother died and she went back to Israel and took her mother's clothing and then braided it all into these vessels, kind of like grief vessels based on
shortly. I filmed a video last year about suicide, and it's about like all my friends who died. Like I made a script, I make a video about that. Do you think it's kind of fit with your idea?
I would say send it to me. And if it's not, I'm also a curator of the Arlington International Film Festival. And so again, this is the type of thing where, being more familiar with each other's work, it will help me channel your work into opportunities. So even if it's not right for this, I might say, why don't you submit this to the film festival for next year? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So send it.
Okay.
I was too shy. You can send me more than one thing. Don't send me like 10,000 things though. If you have other questions for each of you, so that we can just move on and I'm not taking up too much time, why don't you just—
I love this project. I have a question. So I've seen some new media artworks that is directly on the subject of death, filmed in a funeral home. Actually, it was one of the award-winning collaborative with MIT or something like that. Filmed in Paris or Nantes, a city in France, and it was in French, bilingual, I think, in French, and it was interactive new media nonfiction documentary presented as a documentary, but really is more like new media art than
narrative. Okay.
It has multiple timelines, interactive. You can choose how you would like to be buried or cremated, and
oh my God, I need to see that.
But then I see that there are 2 different lines regarding what you're trying to do. One line is in the format, like in the format of death-related format. I don't know how to describe it, or death-related message. Like, I don't want it to make it sound like Halloween themed. But I mean that there are some things that is obviously visually presenting death and grief, and there are some that is more subtle in the message.
Can you send me all these things?
Which things exactly you're looking for, or both?
So we're not looking for too morbid because, so I want to see all these things because as a death doula, I think that ways of discussing death with people are very important. And it's possible that a video that allows people to kind of like look into optionality and make choices could be a really useful tool. And like, this is something like if I get a PhD, it may be in this topic. And so again, I want to see all the things. And but we're not trying to be too on the nose about it, because the idea is like this work hopefully would be able to stay up during someone's funeral, and it would give people an opportunity, something else to talk about other than, those like collages of people's face, of like the dead person's face, which can be kind of like a lot, you know, especially if you, it's just an other locus of interest, something to discuss that's maybe not necessarily just abstract work, but is tasteful and related, but not going to be triggering. And so probably being in a funeral
Not
home,
visually related. Yeah.
how do you want to be buried is gonna, where it's like a screen and you have to like, you know, choose, I want to be buried versus I want to be cremated. Like, yeah, that's probably not going to work, but I still want to see it. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I can. Yeah, so originally we were thinking the talks would be like every month, one talk around one semantic, one subject, one area. Could be death, could be activism, could be, and then there's an interview of an expert. There's an article that doesn't need to be finished, but on process, then we can come back, and every month we would be doing that. We were slowing down because of the studies, so is the priorities, the PhD on most sides, so we cannot go fast on that. But it was like the idea, like we dig a subject every month, and I would say in the Greek term for that is strategos. So is the general of army, and there's a gathering every month, and then consistently we go on a direction, and for communication this is a good way. And then I think all the ideas like that, we propose another idea. It was before pitching a collaborating project, like exactly what you did, Christine. Just proposing an idea from someone else. It can be a friend, can be yourself. And so this is one idea. The new idea is also pitching yourself, or pitching your art, or completely free pitching anything. And it sounds more like a gathering, like in a village. You have a bear, like the monk is, and then everybody comes, and then we are talking about a subject, and could be every month as well. So that's why I'm proposing, because sometimes there's no bear, like nobody has nothing to tell, and maybe everybody is pitching and everybody is completely dry and doesn't want to say anything. But the subject should be still consistent, because we are writing articles, we are making video, we try to be consistent on that. And there are unlimited projects and ideas for that. So my proposal would be making a list of the pitching, the collaborating project, and all of that. And someone sends an email, or someone rings the bell, and then I push it. And then it's more like opening the project to a crowd, the village. Because right now we have a community of, like in Greece, again, the parallel with Greek citizenship, the agora is just the citizens. We are the citizens. But we have an emailing list of hundreds of people that would be interested to follow the pitch and to write, to comment, and that maybe with an idea of this kind of network would be more powerful than just I don't know how many we are, just the citizens.
Yeah.
So my idea would be like to split into two and to propose two, and the second one would be when someone has a necessity.
I think they are like, you're talking about the subject that we choose to work on between you and me, then the subject that people would like to bring within the inner circle, and then the subject people would like to bring to the outer circle. and then someone who needed help. So you're talking about many things.
No. Yeah, yes and no. Every month, articles.
Yeah.
That's not.
I'm thinking.
That someone can participate to it, but we propose it
Yeah.
every month. But then
I think our proposal should be treated.
all couple.
Our proposal should be treated as another pitching from any other person. You understand what I say?
Yeah, exactly.
So, for example, Christine proposed her ongoing or initiating project, and then maybe we say, we are working on X, Y, and Z. So it's on the parallel, but the same level of urgency, same level of the, H1, H2, H3 within the same, logical level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that, you guys are in charge. So having a theme is not.
The group decides.
Well, no,
Yeah.
like
We
very
logistically facilitate.
is the institution, right? So the idea of having a theme for every month for the talk, for like a gathering theme with an article that everyone can read. And so something that's like almost like a lens to look through is not a bad idea. I am someone who is a huge believer in agendas and organizing principles. Okay. That is, it makes me uncomfortable that we do not have an agenda for these meetings, frankly. So I like the idea of that. I think the question is, and I think you guys are, going in the right direction with, yes, how do we, if 100 or a couple hundred people are getting these invitations and we're getting 1, 2, 3, like 5 people showing up, how can we enrich this community? What's going to entice more people? Because the more people we have together, the more people are going to learn about each other's arts, the more you're going to be able to collaborate between each other, the bigger the network is going to be. How do we grow this network, right? And it might take a little bit of, trying out different things, but maybe it's 45 minutes on the theme and then 45 minutes of networking or something like that within that same 90-minute block even. So that there is a theme structuring it, but also there's that time to, I don't know, unstructured Q&A or something. I think if we just if everyone's just talking about themselves though and trying to reintroduce themselves each time, that would be hard. But I do still like the idea of like a workshop-esque opportunities from time to time. I don't know what the artists think about that.
What about we do this is just suggestions, okay? I like everything that Christine and Greg you've been talking about. Disclaimer. Just saying, what about adding to Christine's idea, what about if we do the introductions and then based on the last question that the presenter is asking, all of us help brainstorm some of the possibilities of where this question could go. And then we do a Q&A and then do I forgot what Christine you said, the structure is like 40 minutes of Q&A and then 20 minutes of forgot what it was sorry the other 20 minutes of what
well, I think just
scheduled agenda.
Yeah, I mean it could go into a couple different directions, but
yeah so
Well, for me, I feel like whatever it is, it shouldn't be just something that has the potential to hit or miss for, people. And so I think it should be very clear, okay, what does this have to do with things that most of us are either going to be struggling with, questions we have, whether that be advancing our career, trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to organize if there is a project that somebody they want to share, so on and so forth. And so for me, I would want to have the clarity beforehand of I mean, I guess just that like knowing like, hey, this is what we're thinking about, you know, is there, maybe there's like a handful of things you go and there's just a poll and we all go yay or nay on stuff and we show, hey, we like this idea the most and we go towards that because it's going to be like the most useful to everybody. And then if there's like a secondary one that we can fit in, right, where it's like, okay, everybody else was also kind of looking more towards, you know, this second thing, we can fit that in. That's usually like, you know, it seems like best for me when I can like actually see that stuff and see, oh, everybody wants to talk about that. Cool, we'll talk about that.
So can I give Major, I like what you said, and it made me think more about like the topics and how we could think about topics as really relevant and maybe going off of that and bringing together the idea of the topics and then the conversations and what people are struggling with. Does that make sense for me to kind of like take what I'm going to say?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to stay on topic. I can get off topic sometime. So imagine that, you know, I mentioned like the networking article that I had sent Greg, but I'm thinking here from like my, you know, master's in art history studies, like we have like this network article that I didn't read for that, but like museums are not neutral spaces as another article, or, you know, an article on like indexing and archiving art. And as like 3 different kind of articles and topics, and as kind of like jumping off points and themes that I think could make for interesting topics. Because if you're talking about like scheduling an entire year, it's only 12 articles, right? And 12 different themes. Would things like that, like are topics like that of interest? Is that what we could imagine? Like talking about kind of like the politics of art and the politics of space be kind of like where you would want it to go? Or do you feel like you need more like the nitty gritty of like, how am I going to reach out to the curators? How am I going to like advance my career this second? Like, are those the questions that you need solved?
Can I ask one thing?
Go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you never like really know like what's going to be the most useful at any given time. So like trying to plan things out. And so I think for those of you who have more experience to say, okay, this is what we come across a lot with people that we deal with who are getting into things. I think like the term you use, like politics, is also interesting. And I think maybe that can also be incorporated along with like say current events, like because like so like say something, you know, like is bothering me a lot right now is like the instability of everything. And I don't believe in this like pie in the sky, you know, oh, back in the day things were just, but that's not true. Everybody's always been freaking out ever, right? Oh.
Oh, okay, sorry. Bye.
Sorry, I have to get off.
All right.
And so it's, but there are relative times of like, you know, like more peaceful, more opportunistic, right? There's a lot more out there. And we're getting to where, you know, I never believed I never could have imagined my parents living in another country other than the United States. And they're now talking about living somewhere else, right? Because they're like, you know, they're a mixed race couple. I'm a mixed race person. It's like, it's not cool for me right now, among other things. And so I think things that can help push us forward and stabilize us emotionally, mentally, in terms of our career, I think those are also important things to talk about when we come here. Maybe it's not hitting everybody else the same way to me, but and I'm just using that as an example. There could be a lot of other things, and then you hear something, you go, "Oh, I didn't even think of that." That's really helpful.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think I want to ask also other artists if they are good at that, or I'm just like missing some frameworks to thinking in projects as being artist, because like art is so much to do with practicing the art for me. I can't make like, as Kristen was talking about, we can focus on this subject, for example, politics of exhibiting. I like thinking about it. I might even enjoy writing about it, but I can't make come up with a project idea, including like in a way that it helps my art career. Or like when you guys were talking about like we can pitch an idea, the thing I'm thinking is a startup idea about avocado Tinder. Like if I wanna eat avocado today and mine is not mature, I can find another person who doesn't want to eat their avocado today. Like that's like
You did say avocado Tinder. That's hilarious. I love it. Yes.
Yes, but like I feel like I'm so out of sync in the art world. Also because my background is not art, and surprisingly, like in my real job in architecture, I do lots of project management, but I can translate my skills or my thinking process into art. Like how you guys do it?
Yet. That's the key.
Yes.
Not yet. All right. I can already tell you have some really interesting ideas. And so you're working towards all these things, but it takes a while and it's hard. Okay. So think of it, instead of saying I can't, or I'm not, you say not yet.
Yeah, I'm into personal growth as well. Yeah, growth mindset. I can learn it totally. It's a skill set, but it feels like even more like, because I'm not insecure that I can't come up with ideas. It's just like the ideas are so irrelevant. Like I can't channelize my focus in like success in.
You sound like you're a
art.
conceptual artist. Like a physical artist. So you may need to, and that's maybe something that you and I can talk about offline as well, if you want to have a chat.
Yeah, I would like to, and I go in a very tactile direction, by the way. I do like opposite of conceptual art because like I need to like it's not maybe even I was thinking about that, like it's grief management tool for me, like the practice. And I'm so in love with the making of things, like because I can overly intellectualize things in my head, and consuming that kind of things or like reproducing this kind of things doesn't give me the joy. Like I like producing things that tactile and real, genuine connections. I like, even like in the most of the connections or network, I'm a bit incapable of mobilizing it. Like in a cool art place propose me become a curator in their place that for an exhibition about Palestine, and I'm like, do I even want to do that kind of stuff? So yeah.
Can I say really quick too, like what you're talking about is a huge philosophical conundrum that I have to deal with, because I'm very Renaissance Baroque oriented. And so if you've never done any reading before on the workshop patronage system, right? How things operated back then, a lot of people kind of have this idea because of modern teaching and how modern art has progressed, that again, it's this it's something of the self, right? That art has always been this thing of like somebody has an idea and they go and do it. And it's like, no, most of history was not that. You had a workshop or you worked in a workshop and a patron came to you and the patron said, I need you to make this. The artist worked with the patron and then they went and they made the thing. And it was a symbiotic thing. There's a whole weird, almost alchemical thing I could go into it, but I won't. But, it sounds like, and just tell me if I'm wrong, that you're dealing with that notion of like, deciding, worthy things to do, to actually put my energy, my money, and my time into, that will actually have, enough impact and be seen by the people that it needs to be seen by, because I mean, back then that was easy. I'm making an altar piece for a very particular parish, a very particular cathedral, and it's going to be seen by this community and people who come here on pilgrimage, right? And that's just the Christian end of it. And so it was in a way, very easy that way to actually get your work moving, right? I'm not sure if that's kind of helpful on what you're looking at, but it seems like you're also just struggling with, whether you actually want to have, be a sort of production person for somebody too, right?
That's one aspect of it, but also I feel like it's just so much is expected from the artist. Like I have to speak well, like being well articulate, and it's very hard if English is not your first language. You need to write well, you need to be organized, you need to be this and that. It's a like teamwork, team project that I'm expected to do alone. It's like similar things happens also in other disciplines, like as I think in film it's not so different. In construction, they expect you to know all the possible computing programs in the job interviews, but at least like there's secure payments. Like in art, like they just like expect so much. If I'm so good at project management and writing and doing, like why I'm not a chief editor in a great position? Like what, I don't know, like maybe lately I'm really exhausted in the art world in Europe. So it's like it feels like impossible to reach the standards they are expecting from young artists, emerging artists.
It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And it's difficult for me because the way I think I feel what you're saying is it feels like the world is moving so fast now, right? And I think that's why you're seeing now people, I'm not super afraid of AI the way I think people are. Like I honestly think we're going to reject this a lot longer, like a lot sooner, rather than it's going to take for like robots to take over, right? I think we're just going to be like, yeah, like I have nothing to do, like, and everybody's just making AI pictures, you know, AI essays, AI everything. And so they're expecting you to be like AI because it's a capitalist thing. And this is why you should really go and read stuff about the patronage system, because it was not about a financial return for them. Like when the Medicis paid somebody, right? They're like, I'm not getting my money back. I'm getting a product back that will immortalize me in history. They didn't care about getting their money. They're like, I got enough money. I'm like, well, I'm going to go around, I'm going to do things for my town. I'm going to be remembered here. And what happened? They're remembered, you know, 400 or 500 years later. Like we're still talking about them. There's still TV shows being made about them, right? And so, yeah, I don't think a machine can do that, and it's obviously not healthy to try and turn humans into machines to do that. You can obviously become very specialized in what you do, and even hybridize to a certain extent. But yeah, if we keep devaluing sort of the perfect imperfection of people, it's going to be problematic. So I totally get your. Yes.
Well, I like what Ezra and Major were just saying, I think is a good example of we can have really interesting and enriching conversations about of topics. I mean, my mind was just kind of whirling as they each spoke. So I think that we have so much in common and can connect with each other. However, if we don't have a format and we come to the meetings not knowing what topic is going to come up, I don't think that we all benefit from each other as much. I think there's wonderful benefits to it being loose without direction, but then I think sometimes the downsides of that, like with no agenda or no theme, is more of an unknown for each of us. And if we get really busy, people like might not show up or might not show up prepared in a way that's ready to engage and help each other. And I think that Greg and Mo have been asking us for like suggestions and feedback, and maybe we haven't given them very many because we all are unclear of like, what is the mission of the group? What is the purpose? Like Greg and Mo, you've said repeatedly that you're not in charge of it, that it's, you know, that everybody has a stake. But we do need somebody to say, this is why we meet, even if they're taking information and we're all agreeing on why we meet. And to answer Christine's original question a few minutes ago, like, what is the purpose? Is it to talk about philosophical things, maybe get into the politics of museum spaces or all these fascinating topics, but is that going to help me with my art making and my career? Sometimes yes. For me, the answer to Christine's question is I do need more. This is just personal to me, but I do need more of the nitty gritty. Let's go through our elevator pitches. Let's go through our artist statements. Let's go through having to present to each other. And I believe that if we force ourselves to do that, that it then facilitates or leads to all of these deeper conversations that can get political and philosophical and that can potentially turn collaborative. But if we don't have that structure in the first place, I think that we're just kind of like bumping around in the dark, hoping we kind of get something out of the conversation each time. So I love the idea of agendas, structure, and time for non-structure. It doesn't have to be all, like a type A lined up. But I think that talking about the nitty gritty and these are the challenges I'm having right now really help us connect to each other and relate to each other and start to collaborate more.
Can I do a recap, a very 30-second recap? So basically what I've heard is that we can do half of the time structured with a subject, monthly subjects that is relevant to this affair, to the current affairs, or to the subject that we've been working on, the topic. And then another half that is free, but also we are open. Maybe the Monday before, the last Monday before that date, whoever wants to do a pitching of a project, send us a short email of just 3 lines. Hey, I want to do the pitching. My subject is this. I'm looking for this X, Y, and Z. Maybe you're looking for suggestions. Maybe you're looking for collaborator, or looking for a mentor. And then we can send that info within the email that we send for the invite. So people can also know in advance who is proposing what. Maybe that is kind of what I would imagine.
Yeah, I like Christine just saying the 60-30 too, I think is great because yeah, and Laura, you also talking about our participation and taking the initiative to reach out. I think about the ideas or the thoughts that I have going on, and I say, oh, I should really bring this up, but I'm like, well, why don't I just email Greg and Mo beforehand, right, and say, is this something we could talk about, and then they can put out a mass text or a mass email and say, hey, this is one of the topics brought up. How do we feel about that?
You could even do it on Instagram, Greg and Mo,
mm-hmm.
and be like, what topic do we want to talk about at this month's monthly meeting? And then have everyone vote if you want to really pull in.
You can also make a Google form with all your questions, and we can answer. And after you can have a plan for a year with everything that you can do.
Having documentation that's shared would be good too, of all the things said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. I think a Google form is useful when someone wants to pitch a project, because then we need to know what is the project, what is what you want, and more in detail facts of the proposal. So a bit like when you do a micro business plan, like a flyer, right? Like you show people what is your project. So as Isra said, she was struggling to mobilize, to put things into the format that is commonly used in the art world or in the art/project management world. But if we make, let's say, I would imagine a pre-filled form, you just need to answer all the questions we ask you, then you would come up with a proposal. So you don't need to think about how to do it yourself.
Proposal form would be great. Yeah.
You need so we have a form to help people create curatorial proposals, but you still need to write sentences. You can't, it's not one of these autofill type of things. It doesn't quite work like that. But if you go to artist resources on ShowUp's website, you can go and see all of that. I have a ton of resources because I've taught all of these workshops. So I'm not lacking in resources in terms of if we want to create some sort of shared drive with information, or if any of you guys need any of this stuff. And certainly a lot of this information is also available for anyone who's looking to research it. I think that coming up with like, what are the most pressing monthly themes or topics that are going to really help move your careers forward or be the most structurally relevant for the people who are willing to show up, or what is going to get people to kind of come, feels important. Is that accurate? An accurate statement?
Yeah, I
For
think.
me, yeah.
Okay.
And once we have that, I'm thinking how to use the material. Right now, we're just publishing our talks on the private YouTube that Greg has, is a separate account than the main YouTube channel. And I also want to make more videos with Christine, more like, expert dialogue videos. So I'm thinking how to combine this. So I don't know if the subjects, for example, we make a video first, I publish, people see it, react to it, do a Q&A. So the community is more about Q&A and more profound, or reverse. We brainstorm and then we make a video as a recap, or we just use the same video, but we publish it. How does it work in relation to the videos or the actual content we put out? It should have some kind of synergy.
I almost wonder if we make a video after we do some of these themes, because then we would find out, what are people really wondering? What are the real questions that people have, or what are people really struggling with on with artist statements and things like that. And but I think also maybe giving people maybe there is a relevancy in doing a Google form where we're essentially like, here are 30 themes, and pick, your top 12 to 15 or something. Well, if we want a whole year's worth, for instance, and then we'll just see which ones are kind of like, which ones rise to the top. And if we find 6, and we can do the next 6 months, and then go from there. I mean, you guys decide how many you would want to do.
We have already more than 30, because we have like a board with all the subjects that we publish on, and that is already like kind of on the roster list.
Sure, so maybe you guys already know what themes that you feel like are most relevant, and how you want to call what you want to call them.
Google is really good at showing the trends and knowing the trends, not showing it, because it's sharing less and less data because of, I think, political. They don't want to have to explain to Trump why they are putting something in front. They don't want to be responsible, and we still have trends more than on any social media with this kind of data. And one thing good, you need to go.
Sorry. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. So what I'm proposing is I would do a summary with open questions, because we need to think about it, all of us, I think. I will do a Google Doc summary, and with everybody can comment, can change, can put their content, because I think we got it differently, and we had different angles on that. And the one question, Christine, maybe you are interested in the fact we can, for example, in 2 weeks or in when you want, organizing a talk open to not just the 10-15% in the paid community, but there's a newsletter, and we have a huge
following.
So if they come, I don't know on Google Meet if it's possible to have so like just writing, and I think there's a possibility in that to, like on Zoom, to have active and to have a hierarchy in that. But maybe you could be interested in that, and I think we could organize one talk more like proximity, because we didn't talk about that. But for me, proximity is gold. When we scale, we
Yeah.
lose humanity. We use emotional. We are losing a lot of stuff. So I really love the proximity we have right now. It gives and there's a maximum number for that.
So I think what you were saying is that if you, in a couple weeks, if we were to do kind of like a talk that was open, and to signups, but then kind of like, how do you kind of keep it so that it still creates community? Is that that concern when you talk about proximity?
Yeah. So one talk, proximity talk, like what we are doing right now with topics, and this I got, there's the separation between topics and helpful topics. For example, talking about general activism in general, or talking about your art career, helpful content is different.
Yeah.
And then another talk for reaching out people who have.
You mean as like a lead generator for you guys, or kind of like to bring more people who are on your mailing list to kind of like.
Yeah, and they don't want to pay, and they could be interested. They could be artists. They could be interested in that, but then they don't.
I see
But you
another
can
thing.
also, do it for like, in terms of semi-proximity, have it just be like an Eventbrite where there's only 100 tickets.
Yeah, I know.
And it's free,
Yeah.
but like, you just have to limit it because it's like, there's only 100 Zoom people allowed, or 100 Google Meet.
Yeah. The seats. Yeah. So basically there is the inner circle, the outer circle, the general public, but I'm concerned about how to use it for the general public as well. Since we're producing the video, how can we publish it, on YouTube or for other people?
Why don't we talk about that part separately when we don't have our three lovely artists here, though?
Yeah.
Because they are.
I would say though, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just would say that it's like I really respond well to if people do live videos if they can, and they allow the public to interact through the comment section. Then you guys can sit there as the moderators and say, hey, we got a question that came in we think is pretty good, and so here's the question. Would you guys like to talk about that? And I think that's a great way to do that too. So
for sure, I agree. There's there's a lot of value in that. I had written something down that I wanted to say, but it's kind of like going back to something from before. Is there appetite for that still, or do people have to go? And I think I may have said this point before. And one topic I might bring up, is this on the wall behind you, talking about pricing art? Because that's a topic that comes up all the time, right? I trained as an appraiser. So, but then like actually becoming an official appraiser was like 600 hours worth of work, which I wasn't going to do. I have a friend, Bob Fetty, who's an artist down in Florida. And I apologize if I've mentioned this before. And whenever he was friends with like Chuck Close and Robert Rauschenberg, things like, and people like that. So, friends with all the greats. And whenever you ask him like what his advice is about becoming a well-known artist, he just says, make good art. And which is a very interesting kind of perspective on all of it. And also one, honestly, I think that comes from being a straight white man. But it also brought me to think a little bit about, and I'm hoping you'll kind of like follow along with like where I'm going with this. That yes, like marketing is a big part, that marketing, the network, there's a lot of things that go into like being a successful artist and having your art noticed and really getting where you want your career to go. But I think that it's similar to kind of how you end up pricing work, or how work ends up with value. Okay. Because it's not just one thing. They talk about there's like 3 components, which are rarity, meaning how many of them are there, notoriety, meaning like the name of the person, who the artist is, and then the quality of the work. Okay. And so thinking about for yourself as the artist, right, that there are different levers that you can kind of pull to help you as you're trying to build your career, right? And you're trying to make your art be something that you want it to be, right? And so if you're trying to be this kind of like conceptual artist, right, that's one way of doing things. And having something that's really like boundary breaking is one way of going. And then having work that everyone wants to have in their living room, and there's going to be, you're going to sell a million copies on Etsy, is another way, right? And those are just two different levers in a way that you're pulling to kind of get to different areas of success, right? And one of them is rarity, we'll say, and maybe we'll say the other one is like demand, or we'll say quality for the mass market appeal. And so I just wanted to leave people thinking a little bit about just, there's not maybe one path, and just those ideas.
Yeah, love it. Good point. I would love to, actually, I was thinking the pending videos I want to make with you is, again, how to work with a gallery updated, and how to price your art updated, in the era of AI and, all this economic downturn and everything. So
I feel utterly underqualified for talking about all of these things, but I'm happy to,
yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like there is the doubt of how to achieve it, and there is a doubt of what is to achieve for artists.
What do you say it? What do you mean?
If you are oil painter, you see Velasquez, I just tell you, paint like him. You don't know how to, your problem. Like,
we're entering a new subject right now.
Right.
I think
Right.
it's not.
Yeah.
It could be the next.
Like that subject.
It could be the next topic.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't quite follow. This was about AI.
No. I'm thinking about is for artists, if they want to sell better, price their art better, there are two confusions. One is, I don't know even what to do. I don't know why my art don't sell well, and I don't even know from where to start. Or there's the one is, I want to paint like Velasquez. I want to paint like him. I know this is what I want, but I can't because XYZ. I don't know. They're very different problems.
Yeah.
And they're completely different solutions.
And often you're going to get yourself
classical knowledge
like Velasquez, and then you're going to say, now I still can't sell my art. Now what do I do? So
that's the marketing. That's the marketing problem. Yeah. I think most of people are stuck at, they don't even know from where they start, because they don't have the value system in their head built in, the map which way to go.
Yeah. It's so hard. This stuff is really hard.
Just art is not an exception to any
other topic,
any other work, any job. And when you can see in our society someone like Thomas Edison got every patent, while Nikola Tesla did the work. There's the person with a shark who is making it possible, who is making it scalable. But there's the one who is making the job. And in art, many times it's like that. So if you do say this kind of scalability, rarity, value, and all that, but there's the social system, the liberal economy that makes people with predatory behavior better today. And this is not taught in school, and
not in art school. In business school,
in art school is the same. The most successful artists in liberal system are the one fitting to the system, and they are sharks. They are not making
well, and that's one person's version of what is success as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we each have to define success for what we think it is, rather than
eating,
buying into
eating, not dying without food. It's already a success today.
Exactly. So.
I think it's way worth people. This is something I think about all the time. It's way worth people now actually thinking about, what does being a multimillionaire really give you? Like for me, I'm at the point now, I'm thinking about, okay, if I can, while I'm at my residency, somehow stay in Spain. I'd love to stay for a couple of years, or find somewhere in Europe, have residence there. And I would just love to be able to have an apartment with 1 bedroom, a bathroom, and just like live very simply if I can, and then hopefully have enough money to have a studio. It's like, and then just do that, you know. In America, I can't do that because nobody's like, you know, outside of the cities, nobody's gonna buy art because they don't have the money for it. And then inside the city, I can't live because I won't be able to make enough money. So it's rough for that, you know, especially with what I'm doing. So, you know, just having something simpler and being able to find people who value that. And then you can maybe even price your work better. Cause I don't need to have insane prices for my work. I just need to be able to eat and buy the next, you know, tube of paint.
Oh, well, I hope that you're able to make some things happen for yourself.
We'll work
As
on that.
someone who
I think
was
so.
in
It's just
for many years, I envy that possibility for you. So hopefully you guys can help out with that or give some good advice. I have to get going right now, but I'm very much hoping that we have some good structure and ideas that are ahead. I think that there's some real potential here. And I would invite each of you artists to make sure that your thoughts are being heard either through a future form or in an email. And my email is in the chat here too, for anything you want to send in my direction or questions that you have or anything else. Okay.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you and bye. And hope to see you guys next month.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we're gonna go
I need
to.
to go as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. It was a really good talk.
Yeah.
Thank you, people.
Bye-bye. Good.
everybody.
Ciao.
Good afternoon or evening or whatever. Ciao.